I work at a storage facility, the kind of place most people forget about the moment they drive away, but every night. I am surrounded by hundreds of locked doors, each hiding boxers, furniture, heirlooms, and sometimes things that no one ever dares reclaim. Most units are lifeless and ordinary, but Unit 103 is different. So different that its very existence feels like a scar across the quiet order of the facility. Its lease has never expired. I've been working here for 6 years, and the system has never once shown a late payment. Never once listed an updated phone number or emergency contact. Never once indicated that the owner even still lives. Yet the logs mark it as current, perfectly maintained, as if the unit itself was paying its own rent. The first time I asked my supervisor about it, he grew pale, avoided my eyes, and told me to leave it alone. He said, "Some doors are better left unopened. That should be been in Og. But when you walk past the same door every night, and you feel something breathing behind the steel, curiosity grows like a rot inside your chest. It starts as a whisper, a thought you can dismiss, but eventually it becomes the only thought, pulsing with every flicker of the lights, and there are always flickers near Unit 103. The facility lights are old, but they do not flicker anywhere else, only there. Only when I stand close enough to hear what sounds like faint whispering. The kind of whisper you can't quite catch, but you feel sliding into your head, like fingers pressing against the back of your skull. I used to laugh at myself, muttering that it was just bad wiring, just nerves, just the empty echo of a long corridor at night. But laughter in that place dies fast. It sticks in your throat when you realize you're not just being watched, you're being invited. The night it finally happened, the shift was colder than usual. The air so sharp that my breath lingered in long, silvery clouds, even though it wasn't winter. Around 2:30 in the morning, the monitoring system beeped, showing an anomaly. Unit 103 accessed. My stomach dropped because the lock had never been touched in all my years there. I checked the cameras, only static fuzzed across the screen for that row. Every other feed clear and crisp. Static, like something didn't want to be seen. Against every instinct, I grabbed my flashlight and walked the length of the concrete corridor, my footsteps echoing too loudly in the silence, as if the walls were waiting to swallow me whole. The facility is a maze of sameness, rows and rows of corrugated metal doors, the air tinged with dust and oil, the fluorescent lights buzzing like flies. But when I reached 103, I stopped dead. The padlock was still there, dangling shut, untouched. But the metal door seemed to pulse outward, like something behind it was pressing against it in slow, rhythmic waves. I whispered, "Nope," but my hands still moved, trembling, to the lock. It was ice cold, colder than steel should ever be, and for a moment I felt my skin stick as if the lock were hungry for heat. Against every shred of reason, Primera unlocked. Italiano. The sound echoed, impossibly loud in the cavernous stillness, like a gunshot. I rolled the door upward, the rattling metallic roar grinding against my nerves, and beyond the threshold there was no storage unit, no boxers, no walls, just a void. A hallway stretching farther than any building could contain, lined with more doors, every single one marked 103. The whispering surged, overlapping voices, some high-pitched, some guttural, a cacophony of begging, laughter, and screams all bleeding together until I could barely hear my own thoughts. I aimed my flashlight forward and the beam cut through nothingness, barely touching the endless doors. My legs felt weak, but I stepped inside, because something, whether it was my own stupidity or something pulling me, forced me forward. The ground beneath my boots was concrete, but it pulsed underfoot, like I was walking across the chest of something alive. I don't know how long I wandered. The hallway twisted but never changed. Each door identical, each padlock rusted but solid, and behind each one came different noises. From some, faint scratching, like nails on wood. From others, heavy breathing that rattled like broken lungs. Once, I heard sobbing, a child's sobs that swelled into manic laughter, and then silence. I tried my radio, desperate to call for help, but all I got was a hiss of static, followed by a voice whispering my name. My phone was no better. The screen flickered with distorted images of eyes, dozens of eyes blinking open and closed. Panic clawed at me, but every direction I turned only led to more doors. At some point, I tried to mark one with my key to keep track, but when I circled back, every door was unmarked. They erased my attempt, or worse, mocked it. And then, one of the doors creaked open on its own. Slowly, so slowly, as if daring me to look. From the black gap inside, pale fingers began sliding out. Not 5, but 7, long and thin, bending too many times, joints snapping weightly as they reached toward me. I froze, the beam of my flashlight shaking, and the hand gripped the edge of the door. Then a face pressed forward against the gap, skin stretched thin over bone, eyes hollow, lips sewn shut with wire. It stared at me, even though it had no eyes, and the whispers turned into screams in my skull. I bolted, running blindly, every muscle burning, the corridor bending, the whispers laughing at me, mocking me, telling me to keep running because it would never end. And they were right. No matter how far I ran, I always ended back at the first 103, the one that had opened. The fingers scraped the floor now, dragging closer, leaving grooves in the concrete. I slammed my eyes shut and screamed until my throat felt raw. And then when I opened my eyes, I was lying on the cold floor outside the real unit. 103. The door was shut. The padlock was in place. The facility lights hummed overhead like nothing had ever happened. My body ached as though I'd been running for hours, and when I looked at my hands, they were coated in a fine layer of gray dust that smelled like age and decay. Dust that doesn't exist anywhere in the facility. I tried to check the logs again and froze. The entry showed only one thing. Accessed by my name. Duration 3 hours, 41 minutes. There was no way. I had been gone, yes, but the time didn't feel real. It stretched and snapped like a nightmare. I never told my supervisor. What could I say? That I stepped into a hallway that shouldn't exist. That the unit is some kind of living wound, feeding on curiosity. No one would believe me. But the strangest part is this. Ever since that night, the system logs Unit 103 is accessed once every month, always by my name. Even when I'm not working that shift, even when I'm home asleep. The first time it happened, I thought it was a glitch. The second time, I started to sweat. And now I wake up with that same gray dust on my clothes, sometimes in my mouth, sometimes in my bed. My supervisor never asks. My coworkers never mention it. It's like they can't see it, can't hear it, can't even acknowledge that 103 exists. I tried to ask again, tried to show them the logs, but every time I bring it up, their eyes glaze over and they change the subject. As if I'm the only one who remembers. As if the unit chose me. I'm writing this now because the whispers have followed me home. At night, when I close my eyes, I hear the locks rattling, the metallic doors breathing, the endless laughter leaking through the cracks. Sometimes my phone lights up at 3:03 a.m. with a notification, Unit 103 accessed. I don't remember going there, but when I check my shoes in the morning, they're covered in dust again. My apartment smells faintly metallic, like rust and blood, and sometimes the walls feel like they're pulsing, like I'm back inside. And the thing is, I've seen them in the corner of my room, retreating under the bed, leaving scratches across the wooden floor. Once, I woke up to find my closet door slightly open, and on the inside of the wood, scratched deep, was the number 103. I don't think it will ever let me go. I think once you've opened it, once you've stepped inside, the unit owns you. Its lease never expires because it isn't renting space, it's collecting souls. And if you're hearing this now, if you feel even the faintest curiosity about what's behind a locked door that no one ever opens, you should stop listening, stop watching, stop wondering, because Unit 103 is always listening back. And when it decides to open for you, it won't matter where you are or how safe you feel. The hallways will stretch, the whispers will follow, and the fingers will find you. And when you finally slam your eyes shut and scream for it to stop, you'll wake up outside the door, covered in dust, with your name in the logs. Just like me. Just like everyone before me. And maybe, when your time comes, just like everyone after me too. If you've made it this far, you've already given the unit your attention, and that's all it ever needs to start pulling. But if you think you can stomach more, If you think you're brave enough to step deeper into the dark, then click here and open the next story. But don't he say didn't he warn you be? 'Cause the next nightmare doesn't he just breathe behind a door. It waits for you in your own house, watching you even now, waiting for you to close your eyes.